Hey, love, and welcome to Made for Influence podcast. If you're new here, I am Juliet Olabanji, and this podcast is for high capacity, purpose driven women who are tired of shrinking and hiding. And if you've been here from the start, you are welcome back. You know, we don't do business as usual here, we do purpose redefined. So, it's the end of December, and I know what's happening right now. Your Instagram feed is full of 2025 recap posts. People are sharing their wins, their glow ups, their highlights, their revenue screenshots. There are vision boards workshop, goal setting masterclasses, and everyone asking what is in for 2026. What are you building in 2026? What is your plan for 2026? But today, I'm not asking you that. Today, I'm asking you something completely different, something that might actually change your life if you implement it. What are you brave enough to leave behind? Because here's what I realized when I sat down and I did my end of the year reflection, and I did one with my husband as well. The problem with my 2025 wasn't what I didn't accomplish. It was what I kept dragging on and on about. It was the thing that I was never supposed to carry into 2025 to start with. So let me say that again. The problem wasn't what I didn't do. It was what I kept doing that was costing me my soul, that was costing me my alignment, that was costing me my energy. So today's episode is different. This isn't a how-to. This isn't a framework. This is me being honest with you about what I am personally, intentionally, prayerfully living in 2025 because I refuse to take it with me into the new year. And that is why I am calling this my permission list. And I'm inviting you to create yours. Because sometimes the most radical thing you can do isn't to build more, isn't to do more. It is to release what's been suffocating you. So grab your journal, grab a book, get comfortable, get a cup of hot chocolate, a gingerbread latte, a warm tea, and let's talk about what we are not taking into 2026. All right, let's get into my permission list. Permission number 1. I am leaving behind productivity as proof of worth. Okay, so this one is very ironic coming from someone who literally sells a productivity planner, right? But hear me out. For the most part of my life, my to-do list was like a report card, even the work and the type of job that I did. If I crossed off 15 tasks, I was valuable, I was productive. If I did only 8 tasks, then I felt this drowning energy. I failed the day. My worth, in a way, was directly tied to my output and how much I could get done. And I see this with so many women, and even women that I've talked to, women that I've coached, the teams that I have led. You are not just working, you are performing. Every email that was sent, every project that was completed, every initiative that you led is you saying, see, I deserve to be here. See, I'm valuable. But here's what I learned this year. Productivity is not a proof of your value. It is a tool, and that's it. You are not more worthy on the days you accomplish more. You are not less valuable on the days you accomplish less, and maybe you choose rest. Your worth is not earned through output. It is inherent. It is given. It is already yours. So in 2026, I am done performing my value. Matter of fact, I stopped this earlier on this year. Done with the performative productivity. I am done using my productivity to prove that I belong. I belong because I was made. Definitely made in the image of God. I belong because I have a vision for my life, full stop. So yes, I still plan, of course. Yes, I still execute because there is this vision that is waiting for me to move. But I am leaving behind the belief that my business makes me matter. And actually, that is exactly why I created the Rooted Productivity Planner the way I did. It's not designed to squeeze more out of you. It is designed to help you plan from who you are, not what you think you need to prove. It is a 6 months undated planner, so you can start wherever and whenever you are ready, not when the calendar says you should. You can grab this at rootedproductivity.com. So what about you? Is your productivity serving you, or are you serving it? Think about that. All right, so permission number 2. I am leaving behind other people's timelines. Of course, yep, you heard me. As I grow older and I change seasons, you would hear things like, oh, I turned so this year. I turned 40 this year. I turned 30 this year. And that's wild. The number of the invisible deadlines I realized I'd been carrying. Because I'm like, oh my God, I have 2 years to get to this milestone. And I'm like, wait, says who? And some of you walk around by 30, by 40, I should have a house. By 30, I should be at a certain income level. By 30, you should have it all figured out. And it's just about the age. It's about the arbitrary timeline we absorb. Launch a business within 6 months or you're not serious. If you haven't scaled to 6 figures by year 2, you've failed. Everyone else is further ahead than you. That's what you say to yourself. No, not anymore. This year, I watched women that I admired, even in corporate America, hit major milestones. And instead of celebrating them, I was like, oh, maybe I could go through their career path. Maybe I could go through the same path that they went. I felt behind. Not because I wasn't growing, but because I was measuring myself against timelines that were never mine. Not everyone is made to climb up the corporate ladder. Not everyone is made to be a 7-figure entrepreneur. Here's the truth. There is no deadline on your purpose. Your vision is not too late. You're not behind. The woman who built her business in 3 years is not more obedient than the woman who built hers in 7. The speed of your execution does not determine the faithfulness of your response. In 2026, I am leaving behind the idea that I should be further along. I am embracing my season every single moment because I can gain that back. I am honoring my pace and I'm trusting that what's for me will not miss me as long as I am aligned and I'm moving, even if it doesn't look like what everyone else is doing. So I want you to ask yourself, whose timeline have you been trying to meet that was never yours to begin with? I hope you're really taking this in. Permission number 3, I am leaving behind the version of success that exhausts me. Child, tell me how success can be so exhausting sometimes. Whew. I mean, I've been left that. I spent the first half of 2025 chasing a version of success that honestly, truly, it doesn't align with me, but it just made sense. I was building towards milestones that looked impressive, but felt hollow. I was saying yes to opportunities, pursuing promotions that elevated my personal brand in the corporate space, but drained my soul in some way. Not that the work was super hard, I was good at it, but it wasn't fulfilling. And I kept telling myself, once I hit this goal, then I'll rest. Once I hit this goal, then I'll pivot. Once I reach this level, then I will think about the next thing to do. But here's what actually happened. Instead of resting, I moved further along. I just moved the finish line further away instead of resting. Because the version of success I was chasing was never designed to fulfill me. It was designed to impress people and to get the validation based on people's expectation of me. Listen, there is nothing wrong with ambition. There's nothing wrong with wanting to grow, wanting to scale, to build something that is big and significant. But if your version of success requires you to betray your body, neglect your family, abandon your peace. That's not what I would call success. That is survival. And I'm done. I'm done calling burnout dedication. So in 2026, I am redefining success, not based on what look good on Instagram or based on what sounds good when I'm introducing myself or what gets applause from strangers, but based on what feels aligned with who I am becoming. For me, success is building a business that doesn't require me to sacrifice my presence with my daughter. Success is creating rhythm that feels sustainable, not just impressive. Success is being able to look at my life and say, this honors me and this honors God. But first, this honors God. this honors God and this honors me. And if that means I grow slower, that is fine. I'm totally fine with it. If that means I say no to opportunities other people would kill for, fine. Because I would rather build something that is soul safe, something that is legacy written, than something that get applause but costs me everything and fades out slowly. Here is your question. What version of success have you been chasing that's actually exhausting you? And I want you to be honest with yourself. All right, what number are we on now? I think that's number 4. Number 4, I am leaving behind the belief that my value is in my visibility. Okay, don't fight me on this one. I totally believe there is value in visibility. This one shows up for me in quite ways. I noticed that on weeks when I wasn't posting as much on social media, when I wasn't showing up online, when I was quiet, I felt less valuable or I was missing out on something and I needed to push myself and get back on. Like if I wasn't visible, then I didn't matter. And that scares me a little bit because it revealed something I didn't want to admit. I had started to believe that my influence was tied to how people could see me. But here's the thing, your influence is not determined by your visibility. Your influence is determined by your integrity. Visibility does push both. But I want you to know that the woman you are when no one is watching, that is the real you. That is the real influence. The way you show up for your family when there is no content-worthy curation or creation, that is influence. The prayers you pray in private, the character you are starting to cultivate or you've cultivated when there is no audience, the decision you make that no one will ever applaud, that is your legacy. That is what is going to be embedded in the presence when people start to meet you online through visibility. In 2026, I'm leaving behind the performance of influence. I'm leaving behind the pressure to constantly be seen, to constantly be producing content, to constantly be proving that I am still relevant. Don't get me wrong. I am going to do my part to reach the audience, the people that God has placed in my path. But my worth is not tied directly to visibility and algorithm. Not even my follower count. And the work that I do in unseen places, how I interact with people matter just as much, if not more, than what I do on stage. So ask yourself this, are you building influence or are you performing visibility? Permission number 5. I am leaving behind perfectionism disguised as excellence. Crickets. Sometimes my husband would tell me, you don't even need all of that. Just do it. I know some people, they are just doing and making do with what they have. And I am so like, no, I do everything with so much excellence. That's what I reply him. I want to present myself with so much excellence. And then that takes time. It's time consuming. I have to have this in place, that in place. Girl, not anymore. I am leaving behind perfectionism disguised as excellence. This one is sneaky. I've always prided myself on excellence, high standards, attention to details, especially that I've committed to. And there is nothing wrong with that. Trust me, the God that I serve is a God of excellence. But somewhere along the way, my pursuit of excellence has mixed with perfectionism. And perfectionism isn't about doing things well. It is about protecting yourself from criticism. Okay, let me explain this so that you can get what I'm saying. Excellence says, I'm going to do this to the best of my ability because it matters, which I solely stand for that, and I want to exude that in my work. And perfectionism says, I have to do this flawlessly, or people will see that I am not enough. That is where the problem is. And that is where I see me falling totally into. That is the pit. That is the pit of deception that I see myself falling into. Excellence is motivated by love. Perfectionism is motivated by fear. And this year, I realized how much energy I was spending trying to make things perfect. Not because I was just solely focused on the quality, but also because I wanted it to look a certain way. Because I was maybe unconsciously terrified of being judged. I would, rewrite things over and over again, tweak things. Even when I think it's done, I would go back to it. I would overthink even little captions. I would delay posting. I would delay launching things because they weren't just right yet. And all of that, it wasn't excellence. It was self-protection. So definitely in 2026, I am leaving behind the version of me that needs everything to be perfect before I move. I'm embracing the version of me that can create with confidence, release with trust, and know that my value isn't determined by whether or not something is flawless. Because perfectionism will kill your progress. And I definitely don't want to kill mine. It will keep you stuck. It will convince you that you are working on it when really you're just hiding. So here is the question I want you to ask yourself. Is your standard of excellence serving your growth? Or is it protecting you from being seen? That was a release. Permission number 6. I'm leaving behind the habit of rushing just to feel productive. You know what is funny? I have built a brand called Rooted Productivity. The old tagline is about, being rooted, living rooted, and not rushed, and building a life that you enjoy, right? And yet, before I launched this brand, I spent most of my time this year rushing through my morning because I have to beat the traffic, rushing through my routine to get to my desk faster, rushing through time with my daughter because I had emails to answer, because I had deadlines to meet, rushing through my days because I felt like I wasn't moving fast enough. I wasn't doing enough, but rushing is not productivity. Rushing is anxiety in motion. And I'm so thankful that I caught that. And even with my exit from corporate America, I was able to really realign myself and root myself. And I realized something powerful this year. The speed at which I move does not determine the significance of what I build. Some of the most important things I created this year came from slow, intentional season. The planner that I designed, the community that I'm launching, this podcast, that took months of thoughtful iteration. The podcast episode that resonated most, those came from deep reflection, not rushed recording sessions. In 2026, I'm leaving behind the belief that faster is better. My husband would tell me, slow down, patient. Like, you need to be more patient. In 2026, I'm leaving behind the belief that faster is better. I am embracing slowness. I am embracing presence. I am embracing the kind of productivity that is rooted in rest, not rush. Because if I'm too busy to be present, I am too busy, period. So ask yourself, where are you rushing just to feel like you're doing something? Permission number 7. I am leaving behind borrowed vision. Whew. This year, I caught myself building towards goals that weren't really mine. I was copying strategies that worked for other people. I was chasing milestones because that's what successful people do. We chase milestones, we hit them, and we set other milestones and goals. But you know what? What I was doing, none of it felt like me. Because here is the truth. You can be successful at someone else's vision. You can be really successful at someone else's vision and still feel empty. You can hit every benchmark, check every box, build everything right, and still wake up feeling like you're living someone else's life. In 2026, I am leaving behind every vision that I did not receive in prayer. I am leaving behind every strategy that is not downloaded to me in my secret place. Everything that does not align with the season that God has me in. So every goal needs to be checked. Every goal that looks good on paper but doesn't resonate with my spirit, canceled. X. Your vision is not supposed to look like someone else's or even everyone else's. Your vision is not a trend. Your purpose is not supposed to mirror someone else's path. And trying to force yourself into a framework that was never meant for you will only lead to burnout and frustration. So I am asking myself, and I am inviting you to ask yourself, is this vision mine? Or did I borrow this vision because I thought I was supposed to want this? If it's borrowed, then leave it in 2025. So here's what I want you to hear before we close out this episode. This isn't about becoming a different person in 2026. This is about becoming more of who you already are. Aligning with your identity by releasing everything that has been covering you up. You don't need to build bigger, especially when there is so much pile on you already. You don't need to prove anything. You just need to let go of what has been weighing you down. And I know this is hard. It's not easy by any means. It requires you to feel vulnerable, to experience loss. I know it is easier to just set new goals and pretend like the old patterns doesn't exist. But transformation doesn't happen by addition. It happens by subtraction. It happens when you get honest about what has been costing you your peace. It happens when you stop betraying yourself just to keep up with the Joneses. It happens when you finally give yourself permission to release what was never yours to carry. So before you write your 2026 vision, I want you to write your permission list. What are you leaving behind? What are you no longer available for? What version of yourself, what belief, what habit, what expectation are you finally ready to release? Write it down. Say it out loud. And then let it go. Because 2026 is not about who you can become. It is about who you already are when you stop carrying what is not yours. Now, I know some of you are listening to this and you're feeling some shifts. You're realizing that, I've been carrying this, and this are not even mine. You're realizing that you've been carrying patterns that you can't just leave behind without support. You need someone to help you untangle the identity fractures that are keeping you stuck. And that is exactly why I've created my Identity to Impact 3-month coaching experience. It is one-on-one work where we go deep, not on strategy, not on tactics, but on who you are and how you build from that place. We identify the fractured beliefs, the borrowed visions, the performance patterns, and we rebuild from your actual identity, not the one you've been performing, but the one that is being given to you, the one that you're created in. If you're tired of surface level solution and you're ready for the deep work that actually creates lasting change, you can apply at IamJAllure.com. IamJAllure.com. I only take a handful of clients at a time because this work requires my full attention. If you're ready, let's talk. You can also DM me the word identity on Instagram. And if you're not ready for coaching, but you know you need a different way to plan your year, one that doesn't start with pressure and hustle, the Rooted Productivity Planner is waiting for you at rootedproductivity.com. rootedproductivity.com. It is designed to help you execute from rest and not rush. It is a 6-month undated identity-centered planner. It is how I plan, and it is how hundreds of women are learning to build without burning out from my framework, identity-driven execution. If this episode resonated with you, I would love for you to share it. Send it to the woman in your life who needs permission to stop performing. Share it on your stories on Instagram and tag me, even on TikTok. My @ is Juliet in Frame. JulietInFrame. Juliet in Frame. So I can celebrate you. Tag me. I really want to celebrate you, especially to give you an applaud for a year well done. All right, love, I will see you next year. Same you, better boundaries, deeper roots. Let us close out 2025 strong, not by doing more, but by releasing what has been holding us back. I am cheering for you. So stay bold, stay rooted, and don't you dare play small. This is Made for Influence podcast, and I'm your host, Juliet Olabanji. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.